I'm a scientist, at heart at least. So when I hear a girl is thick, I need a proof. Or in Dito's words, she's just fat, but we cannot say that without a scientific proof.
So I took my ruler and started measuring. Since I'm a lazy scientist, I checked the width of 5's thigh and then compared it to 4's. Lo and behold, the centimeters.
Okay, so that's not the results I was going for. But have you seen her? She's not fat, she's curvy. And I'm not saying that just because we have the same weight and height. No! Besides, I'm pure muscle. Have you seen that? Huh? Yeah.
While we share weight, I certainly do not share 5's appetite. 2-course meals are good, but she still prefers those that come with 3 separate dishes.
Now then, what should I have for dessert? Oh, and second dessert.
She wants yummy things, but won't say no to even most disgusting ones. Just so she can eat. It doesn't end there. She wants more and more of everything. More dresses, more jewelry. In her own words, the world consists of things she wants and the things she really wants. But she's never satisfied. Once she gets what she wanted, she loses interest. The only thing that can hold her attention is the thing that she cannot have. Okay, that's like me and subscribers. Be sure to subscribe. And this may be a clue to why she wants to learn more about happiness and humanity. She tries to be happy by obtaining more and more goods. It may seem to be working, but there is always a catch. She keeps on seeking. She cannot seem to just sit down and enjoy things as they are. Even if the new thing brought her happiness, that satisfaction doesn't stay with her.
Desert and the frigid mountains. The intoner searched for her beloved meat and mushrooms, only to come up empty-handed.
It may be caused by something we call hedonic treadmill or hedonic adaptation. Humans have this tendency to promptly return to a relatively stable level of happiness, despite major changes occurring in their lives. The more you have, the more you want. If you earn more money, you desire more expensive things. So what you are stuck with is that primary sense of happiness that isn't influenced by anything happening outside of yourself. This mechanism lets people living in difficult conditions survive by adapting to the scarce level of resources while still being able to find happiness. Or it dooms people who are inherently unhappy and stay that way, even after acquiring lots of money. For example, a study was conducted in which lottery winners were compared to people who hadn't won anything. Lottery winners weren't happier than people from the control group and took significantly less pleasure from a series of mundane events. Further study indicated that those effects weren't caused by some differences existing before they won the lottery, or by interviewers paying special attention to them winning. This may seem disheartening, but it lets us work backwards. If the pleasure of doing small things is decreased by winning money, and money doesn't raise happiness, maybe we should focus on those small things. And the theory of hedonic treadmill backs it up, as there are things that gain its worth by being repeated time and time again. Sensitization is an increased hedonic response to continuous exposure, such as pleasure of a connoisseur. And 5 can distinguish great food from bad food. She knows which of her sisters can cook well,
I didn't know two cooked. Is she any good?
Oh, yes. In fact, she's the finest chef amongst all my sisters. Her food is so novel and bold, so toothsome and
She goes out of her way to acquire new ingredients, so she can have even tastier food. But it isn't enough to quell her need to have more and more. She can enjoy a well-cooked meal and a rotting flesh of a crab, which seems to be the only thing that really connects her to her disciple.
Yes, we did it, Dito!
Oh man, this is awesome!
Dito seems to hate her and lets us know about it. Loudly. And it bugged me at first. I took it as another gag. With time, though, he made it sound like Five had forced herself on him. Then he was all too happy to see her as a zombie and talked how now she could sleep with him. That's a weird character development. But his story, his novella, clears everything up. She forced herself on him. Not only that, but she also controlled his every move, including the tone of his voice, his face, and his words. It seemed like she had also tried to twist his feelings. And night again she used his body as her sex toy. After all, he was her favorite. Yeah, this changes things a little. When we see it from her side, in her novella, she doesn't seem to think that anything bad is going on. She thinks that Dito acts the way he acts because he's bashful or just coy. She may really not know the power she wields over him. Not like Zero attached a manual to the disciples when she sent them, or Five may know what she's doing, but she's coping with cognitive dissonance. You see, when someone comes across an idea contradicting the one they believe in, several things may happen to get rid of the uncomfortable feeling this causes. You can ignore the new info, you can change your own mind, or you try to justify your behavior. And victim blaming falls to the last category. Dito wants to sleep with her, he loves her, he wants to try out new things in bed. With the power of her song, she can even make him act as such. Dito's love for everything rotten and dying seems to also be rooted in how he perceives his intoner. For him, she is rotten inside. Someone who forces him to have sex time and time again has to be. What he loves is seeing the truth being pulled out to light, the insides becoming the outsides. I think that Dito sees Five as beautiful. At least how her body can be seen as such. But here comes his own cognitive dissonance. Something so divine cannot be this bad. So he diminishes her worth by calling her fat or comparing her to a pig. And maybe this is why he may even let her sleep with him once she's ugly. Or just zombified. It should be noted, he doesn't see himself as beautiful or handsome. He thinks that you can be either intelligent or good looking. And since Sand falls into the other category, you can guess where Dito is. This may come from Five's love for his looks. After all, if those looks bring abuse his way, they cannot be good. Only when the world becomes ugly, when Five becomes a rotten corpse, does Dito find his place. For him it is the world just showing its true colors. The world is a rotten place, so it should be hideous.
This is exactly the kind of insane world I've always wanted. It's just perfect for an undesirable sap like me. I think I'm gonna stay here forever!
Come to think of it, why would Five need to make someone want to have sex with her? She has men and women ready to sleep with her whenever she wants. She has studied books speaking about beauty, and dresses in the best clothing money can buy. She looks young, is even younger. She's too, what the hell? And has cooks making her all of the best food. Yet there seems to be unsureness in her, connected to her need to search for something. As she's given a part of Zero's psyche, it may be the part that is looking for happiness, or maybe the part that has been starved for food as Zero had to live on the street. The gnawing hunger still echoes in the youngest sister's soul. But 5 has also memories that the flower has created. Memories of a father who died back when she was young. So the only representations of her imaginary childhood are of someone leaving her. And the only time she isn't controlling Ditto is when she reminisces about this man. It leads me to believe that the flower gave her abandonment issues, which isn't exactly cool. But it would explain why she, intentionally or not, controls every move of her disciple. This way he cannot harm her, and more importantly, cannot leave her. She didn't even get mad when he tried to kill her. Honestly, I'm not even sure she noticed. He wanted to stab her from behind and all she did was ask him what he was doing for him to drop his weapon. Or she just treated it as her toy showing its teeth. She did say she liked his spite. At first, the disciples were mindless. They were those used by Zero as ways of controlling the Intona's powers. But with time, they gained consciousness. Yet if their every move used to be controlled by the Intoner, at what point should she notice that Ditto has his own will? Very often 5 needed other sisters to tell her the easiest things, because she couldn't make the connection. It was 4 who told her that the money she spent on dresses could have been spent on orphanages. It seemed like 5 just didn't see how her dresses and food for the poor are connected. The case can be the same with Ditto. Maybe she needed someone to tell her he has his own will. The funny thing is, her face is the same face that Zero has seen during her rampage before the flower. She had broken into a monastery in which a group of nuns resided, and she killed them, all of them. At some point she saw a face of a nun, a face that 5 bears now. It may explain why 5 uses a cross, and maybe why she is so focused on sex. It may be a perversion of the nun. After all, nuns are supposed to not have sex. And well, and you can see how 5 is certainly not in a nun category. She's more into Bayonetta instead of just being a nun, or maybe a nun Bayonetta. Yeah, that checks out. All in all, I'm not surprised Ditto hates her the way he does. Her actions, whatever their cause, are awful. But this is a Yoko Taro game. Of course there are bad people here. They are out there in the real world, so they should be portrayed in media. And they are as complex as any other person. Okay, do stay tuned for my next video on 4 and subscribe if you want to A, hear more from me, and B, know something about the psychology in the original Nier. I'm leaving links to the studies mentioned in this video just below. Stay safe and cheers!